Ladies and gentlemen, this next fight is three-minute rounds in the APFC heavyweight division, brought to us by Real Brazil Steakhouse. Introducing first, fighting out of the blue corner, a mixed martial artist standing at 6 feet, 3 inches tall. He weighed in at 243.2 pounds and fights out of Durham, North Carolina. Here is Big Hayes, Mike Delozier. And his opponent, fighting out of the red corner, a mixed martial artist standing at 6 feet, 2 inches tall. He weighed in at 247.4 pounds and fights out of Crofton, Maryland. Here is Anthony Rossi. And when the action begins, our referee in charge is Matthew Goodhart.
This second bout is brought to you by Real Brazil Steakhouse. We were there last night. Excellent meats that they've got on tap. Tony Rossi takes on Mike Delozier, his most experienced foe to date. You can see both guys getting a positive reception here from the Greater Richmond Convention Center.
And just the way they're staring each other down, man. They're relaxed, but there's a lot of intensity behind it.
Delozier takes the center. Big stick right there by Rossi.
Nice jab there by Delozier.
That was quick.
Yeah, seems to be very loose.
And a big teep up the middle. I like the patience and composure. You see some guys that really just go all out immediately, but this is a testing, patient first couple moments.
Delozier doing a good job stepping in and stepping out. However, we expected Rossi to get right to the wrestling right away, which he does, catches that kick, flips Delozier against the cage, and now he's ready in a good position to go to work.
Look at those knees from Rossi. I mean, kicking that right leg out like a horse. That can't feel good, David.
Smart. I mean, in little shots like those, they take a toll over time, and that could carry him through the fight if this goes into those deep second and third rounds.
And you got to think Rossi throwing that wayward teep, and Delozier throwing it and Rossi capitalizing. That might be that inexperience showing itself.
Very much so, and that's also going to make Delozier a little timid, you know, if they get back to their feet to throw the legs, as he now knows that Rossi's going to expect it, and he feels the wrestling pressure by Rossi.
Anthony Rossi deep in here. There's a shot potentially a bit low. Referee didn't see it. We continue.
Rossi doing a great job, you know, keeping head control there, keeping his head right in Delozier's jaw line. That's going to pin him against the cage. And now all he has to do, he can really just sit there and just chip away at his opponent. He doesn't have to do much. The onus now is on Delozier.
Grueling positional control by Anthony Rossi. 90 seconds remain in round number one. Mike Delozier laughing a little bit, but you got to do a little bit more than laugh to get out of that position, David.
A little grin. I'm glad he feels comfortable in that position. However, at the same time, he's losing the round.
Once again, big knees by Rossi. A disciplined approach right here from him. Not making many mistakes. We get a separation. Let's see what the Big Hayes can do. Massive connection upstairs.
Delozier coming forward right away. Getting back to that jab where he had success early on.
Big whiff right there from Big Hayes. I like how he's throwing that check left, but gets clipped right there from Rossi.
Back to the teeth again. So Delozier really seems unfazed almost by Rossi's wrestling attack here.
Oh, big attempt by Rossi. Reversed by Delozier momentarily. Those guys just kind of flopped on the canvas.
Yeah, great sprawl there by Delozier, man. Great sprawl, great scramble, back to his feet. Now he's back to where he's comfortable.
Each guy's really educated with that lead hand. You can see orthodox on orthodox, both tools available to him. Excellent stick by Hayes.
Delozier just seems to be a little more loose and comfortable on his feet. I think if this goes into the second round, Rossi's going to want to tie him up, man, as quick as he can, because Delozier's catching his groove.
That was a big attempt right there from Delozier to end things, just winging those shots. You can see a couple deep breaths, but still smiling is the Big Hayes.
You know, he was very calm, cool, collected in the fight, much like he was in the interview. I was a little worried when he got his back against the cage, but he made the adjustments, got to where he wanted to be.
What do you think about the highlights here from round number one? David Evans, walk me through it.
Well, here we have Delozier, man, just came out snapping that jab. However, Rossi caught that kick and got to the game plan. He's like, hey, I'm going to go out there, I'm going to wrestle. He put his opponent against the cage, chipped away at him with knees, and did everything he needed to do in that position. But Delozier got right back to his feet and went right back to work. jab, jab, right hand, throwing that sneaky kick. Was able to defend the takedown, which I like to see because I was a little worried initially. So we saw a little everything in that first round. I got to give it to Delozier. I like his composure, even though Rossi was hey, no pun intended. I liked his composure, even though Rossi was able to wrestle him and get back to the cage. You know, he seemed to be, the big haze was unfazed. Let me go 2 for 2 on this one.
Look at that. David keeping it clean. Will say my big question is the sort of wayward shots, right? The risky maneuvers right there that give Anthony Rossi moments to either push him against the cage or shoot for those takedowns. If I'm Delozier, stick behind the jab, I feel, and wait till things manifest themselves.
Very much so. I mean, he could definitely add a layer by feinting some of his strikes and getting Rossi to commit on the shot to where he can counter.
Big connection by both guys early in round 2. Anthony Rossi, body language looking good, but it's a big left hook right there from Delozier.
Delozier doing a good job just staying loose with his hands, feinting up and down, you know, just seeming very relaxed and comfortable there.
Leg kick right there from Rossi, barely connects. Delozier eats a shot coming in. Feels like his head's a little bit on the center line, David Evans.
Very much so. Even though he's comfortable and fluid throwing his strikes, when you can punch and slip at the same time, it almost makes you like you're always a missed target at that point. And if he adds that, I mean, to his striking, he's going to be in a good position.
Feels like Anthony Rossi's trying to feint that inside leg kick to come over with the right hand, a little Dan Henderson-esque maybe.
Yeah, I mean, he snapped that one, and that's also going to make his opponent think the next time he feints it and possibly set up that big right hand.
Oh, Big Hayes winging some shots, cuts open Rossi.
Speaking of big right hand, Hayes snuck one right in there over the shoulder of Rossi and got his attention.
If you need any indication of how powerful Delozier is, look at that laceration on the cheek of Anthony Rossi.
Very much so, and Rossi being smart here, going back to, you know, his wheelhouse with the wrestling and being able to close the distance. You know, last time he got Delozier here, he was able to just ride him out for about 30 to 45 seconds and just land those knees, chop and chip away at his opponent, and now he's getting back to that, and that could steal the round for him.
100%. 1 minute, 15 seconds remains. The Big Hayes still smiling here, finds some separation. Each guy meets in the center. Rossi forces him backwards.
Now Rossi's bleeding. You know, he doesn't have a wealth of experience we talked about. Now what he has to do is he can't panic. He's cut, but he's still in a good position to win his fight. However, Delozier, on the other hand, sees blood.
Mike Delozier uncorking a lot of taxing strikes. Could be exhausting. Rossi finds the back. Bad news right here, David.
Rossi getting back to his wheelhouse with the wrestling. He's taking his opponents back here in this position against the cage. This, I believe, is the third time now. And this is also going to wear away at his opponent. You know, once you carry all 200 and whatever pounds these heavyweights weigh, you know, Delozier's not going to have that same spunk when he's striking on his feet.
And while Anthony Rossi does only have one fight, he's cornered here tonight by Josh Francis, Junior Ruby, and Cameron Howard. Some serious combat sports professionals that are guiding him and leading him here. Final 15 seconds. Delozier absolutely cornered here on the cage, David.
Delozier has to do a better job in this position. He has to learn to pummel and get the underhooks. He's hanging out there with the overhook. However, all that's doing is keeping his opponent attached to him, which is where Rossi wants to be.
Anthony Rossi busted open and bleeding, but an amazing end to round number 2. David Evans, take us through some of these highlights from that second frame.
So here we have it. They were standing on their feet where I thought Delozier was the better man, and he landed that big right hand and cut his opponent Rossi there. And after that, Rossi got right back to his wheelhouse, got back to the shot, got to his back, and that's where he hung out and chipped away at his opponent. Big right hand by Rossi. He almost dropped there now that we see that in the slow motion, but did a great job of getting his hands back up, staying calm, staying composed, and got back to his game plan. Even though he doesn't have a ton of experience, that is a veteran move right there to be able to recover from that.
And you can see him smiling here in the corner. We're going to take it to one more takedown from round number 2. Beautiful entry right there, David Evans.
Great double leg takedown by Rossi. Got in there, wasn't so sold on finishing on the double leg, took the back right away, which was also a smart move, not wasting energy and wasting motion and taking his opponent's back.
High test on both sides. The undefeated Anthony Rossi and Mike Big Hayes Delozier find themselves in round number 3. Last couple minutes, David, somebody's got to make a big statement here. It could be 1-1.
I think it is 1-1 right now. We got it. I gave the first one there to Delozier because of his intensity coming out. I gave the second one to Rossi. He took some damage, recovered, but got back to his game plan, had a lot of ground control. And here we have it. Here we see this story all night. He's controlling his opponent against the cage, and Delozier, like I said earlier, the onus here is on Delozier to get his back off against the cage.
Some separation here. A low blow is called. Anthony Rossi sneaks one up into the crotch. Not where you want to be, David.
You know, it happens sometimes. I'm not saying it's intentional, but, you know, also, you know, Delozier has his back against the wall, so to speak. Did it really land clean? Do we have a replay? I don't know. The world may never know.
Here it is. We're going to cleaner look at a dirty blow downstairs. David, let me know what you see.
Let's see. You know, I'll give it to him. I'll give it to him. That was, you know, I'll give it to him. That was about as clean as it can get.
No dispute there. Mike Delozier getting a moment to rest. The big haze with a few deep breaths. Tony Rossi likely going to go back to the grappling as soon as this fight commences.
Delozier right back to the center of the cage there, looking to strike. Throwing that lead left hand, looking for the big right hand, which he had some success with in the second round.
He's shown that he can stun Anthony Rossi, but can he put him away? Mike Delozier steamrolling into the pocket with a big land.
A lot better head movement this round by Delozier.
Oh! Down goes Rossi momentarily. Pops back up.
Check left hook there by Delozier. But he was moving his head, then he got excited and stopped, man. His striking was looking fluid there for about 10 seconds.
Mike Delozier whiffs with that check left, moves into the pocket. Rossi on the back foot here. Final minute and 40 seconds. Delozier connects with the right hand. Rossi with a reset.
That right hand has been having so much success for Delozier. But as we see it, every time Rossi gets in trouble, he closes the distance and he grips his opponents up, which is smart. It's not pretty, but it's efficient and effective.
Mike Delozier has only been able to escape this position a few times this fight. It is imperative that he finds his way off the fence.
Yeah, he must learn to pummel, dig his underhooks, however, because Rossi, he's winning the round. Even though Delozier's doing some great work, Rossi erases it all by closing the distance and just keeping his hands grasped and throwing the knees, throwing the strikes there from that grappling position.
And like we talked about, from a guy who's only 1-0 to have the wherewithal to go back to the grappling when necessary and win those minutes of fights instead of moments, that's pretty high level stuff.
That's a winner's mindset. You know, Rossi definitely has that mindset. He took some damage, he got cut, he's bleeding. Like some of the worst things that could happen to you has happened to Rossi. However, he has been undeterred in his approach towards his fight.
Here's Delozier with a big pummel under, but can he break the grip? That is locked in from Anthony Rossi.
So far, Rossi doing a great job maintaining head control, maintaining the body lock, just throwing knees. And even though those knees may not look like they're much, one, they're scoring points. Two, he definitely fills those.
And look at the welt on the big haze. I mean, that leg is marked up from all of those strikes.
All of those knee strikes just chipping away.
Final 10 seconds. Can the big haze stop Anthony Rossi? Big connection. Rossi once again in on the hips and closes out with a true high IQ game plan.
Very much so. If I'm a judge so far, I have to lean more towards Rossi as close as this fight could be. But I mean, to say that, on the other hand, Delozier, if you think about the work that he put in, the fight probably shouldn't have been that close. But he changes one or two fundamental things.
What an impressive second outing for Anthony Rossi. Dealt with some serious adversity, a lot of heavy strikes from the big haze, and he wore the majority of them well. David Evans, take it to a highlight from round number 3.
Here we have it, Rossi just doing his work right here in that clinch position. Chopping at the knees, chopping at the legs. That was the low blow, which I questioned initially, Dolores. I'm sorry, but I mean, it was definitely there. But he came back, you know, threw his hands, got his strikes, landed that sneaky left hook, and almost rocked Rossi again. However, Rossi just did what he did, kept coming forward, got to his clinch position, got his opponent against the cage, and he's scoring points every time. He's not just sitting there, where his opponent, on the other hand, was a little bit too comfortable with his back against the cage.
Certainly questionable about the choices of Mike Delozier, but we take it inside to Shane Graham to find out the winner in our second bout of the night at APFC 6. Anthony Rossi, seemingly confident about the result here tonight. Can't see where oh, there he is. Delozier, hands on the hips. Doesn't seem as confident, David.
You know, I think I heard a little back and forth between the two, and Delozier thinks his opponent didn't earn the win, actually. So I think it's, you know, that's where your coaches and the people around you have to step in. You know, even though he may be feeling good about this performance, and if you're a coach, you got to say, hey, we did this good, but this is what affected us the most. And if he makes adjustments, I think he has a bright future.
You can't question the enthusiasm, though, of the Big Hayes. I mean, he's been smiling first round, second round, third round, and now afterwards. We take it to Shane Graham to find out the decision here at heavyweight.
Ladies and gentlemen, after 3 hard-fought rounds of action, we go to the judges' scorecards for a decision. Our first judge scores this contest 29-28, Delozier. Our second judge scores it 29-28, Rossi. And our third judge scores it 30-27 for your winner by split decision, Anthony Rossi.
Rossi remains undefeated here at APFC in a grueling 3-round affair against the highly experienced Mike Big Hayes Delozier. David Evans felt like he just did everything he needed to do.